And I have to thank John for being my backup this morning, because it makes it a lot easier for me to just let someone else handle all of those electronic details that sometimes go awry. So last week when Susan was began her talk, she shared a piece of advice that Joe gave her, that our best talks come from our most recent experiences. So I decided to take that that advice as well. And what I have to share today is kind of a potpourri of things that have come my way over the last week or two that uh, are kind of helping me navigate this current time in my life. Um, so some of you know that on October the 25th, my 92-year-old mother fell. And for the first couple of days, it looked like she was going to rally and recover, even though she had broken some ribs. Um, but then a couple of days after she fell, I guess 3 days after she fell, she was not able to keep food down. And she did not want people to go to any extraordinary means to prolong her life. So she was put on hospice, and I was able to help care for her for the last 12 days of her life, along with my sister, Mary Beth. And we are extremely lucky in that Mary Beth is a hospice nurse. And so I wasn't really scared or worried during that time, because I knew I had an expert at my side guiding us along the way. And my mother was easy to care for those last 12 days. And she was very appreciative for the time that she was conscious. She was very appreciative that we were there with her, because she knew that it was the end. But now I find myself not really knowing how to navigate or even feel about this important event in my life. My mother wanted to die. She had wanted to. My dad died 5 years ago, and she was like shocked because she thought she was going to die first. And she was very unprepared for that, and just kind of lost her will to live after my dad died. And she used to tell us all the time, I pray every night when I go to sleep that I will not wake up. And she was always a little disappointed in the morning when she did wake up. Uh, and the last few years of her life, her short-term memory began to fail her. And that really bothered her a lot. And you can imagine also somebody who's 92. I mean, her body was just getting very fragile, and she was getting quite frail. So, we were all prepared in a way for her to die. Um, and, you think about things like this happening, and you try to prepare yourself, and you think you might know how you might feel. And so I often, when I would think about my mother dying before she did, I thought, well, we'll feel a sense of relief because she got what she wanted these last 5 years. And that's not how I feel at all. uh, the only thing I feel so far is this just like vacance inside of myself. And for some reason, I'm judging that as being insufficient. And in a way, it's somewhat explainable because I'm a type 3 on the Enneagram, and type 3s are usually fairly disconnected from their feelings before they start doing their real work. And for many years of my life, uh, I thought emotions were just kind of a waste of time and very inefficient. And so I became quite good at just ignoring them or sort of stuffing them down, so that I could, continue on with all of the things that I needed to do. Um, so it's been just kind of an unsettling time because I'm like, you know, I should be feeling differently than I'm feeling. And the first 2 weeks after she died were very, very busy. Uh, but this past week, I had a lot more time to just be with myself and I don't know. I just, I knew I had this talk coming up this weekend. And so I just started looking at some resources and I get all these emails that come to my email inbox every day from all of these different wonderful teachers. And so I just started reading and reading some things that were coming into my inbox and uh, listening to some talks. And sure enough, some of these resources were very helpful to me this week. And mostly from the point of view of realizing that I shouldn't really know how I should be right now. It's okay to not know. And, of course, that takes me back to Joe's teaching many, many, many times, that not knowing is a really good place to be. But that message just seemed to be coming to me from lots of different places this week. So I thought I would share with you a few of these resources that came along to me. And the first one was from Anne Lamott, who I absolutely adore. She just has this way of speaking the truth and not trying to sugarcoat it. And yet, every time I read something of hers, I just feel, number one, in the company of a lot of other like-minded people and just comforted by what she says. And she just finished a couple of interviews. I think it was with the Washington Post that have been posted online. And so in one of those interviews, she talks about when her mother was diagnosed with Alzheimer's, she and her siblings had no idea how to go about caring for her. And I don't know, one of the professionals that they spoke to said, well, of course you don't know. You have never been at this moment in your life before. So why should you think that you should know how to navigate this time with her? And so that, that just made me feel better. It also made me remember a lesson that I have been, or a teaching that has been coming to me over and over and over this year in many different ways, which is to have compassion for myself. I don't know. I never grew up with anybody teaching me that I should have compassion for myself. So I really appreciate hearing this teaching over and over and over this year. And in this article or interview that she did with the Washington Post, She talked about these Albert Bierstadt paintings, and our screensaver today was one of those paintings. And John, could you bring that back up again? I just would like people to look at it one more time. His paintings, honestly, would not be something that I would normally be drawn to, but the way that she wrote about um, these paintings uh, just helped me feel better. And I'm just going to read to you what she said about this. Uh, she said, can you get it up, John, or not? Let me see if I can share it. I might be able to. There it is. Can you see that? Okay. So here's what she said. In Bierstadt's paintings, there is a darkness on one side, maybe a mountain or a shadow. Sometimes at the right or the top center is a trippy splash of light, often a mystical, jagged slash that breaks through dirty looking clouds. There might be bright reflections or long slanted fingers of sun shining down. Puffy rain clouds glow. In the center of many of his paintings, you see animals grazing or drinking. They are not the point of the painting. The point is the light. All his paintings say, yes, there is the deep dark, but we have some light as well. In the dark, there's still light around. So don't ever think things are too dark. The light can always reach you. The second resource that came my way this week was a poem by Wendell Berry. And it was just spot on for what I needed to hear this week. And I'm going to read it to you twice, once so you can get it the first time, and then the second time so you can just kind of ruminate in it a little bit. He says, it may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we have come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings. It may be that when we no longer know what to do, we have come to our real work. And that when we no longer know which way to go, we have come to our real journey. The mind that is not baffled is not employed. The impeded stream is the one that sings. And then the third resource that came my way this week was an invitation to listen to 3 talks that David White is giving on the topic. He's entitled it The One Clear Path. And if you've ever listened to David White, he returns to this topic a lot. And I believe what he is referring to here is each of us finding our true path in life. What is our purpose here? And I just want to read. So what I did was I kind of repurposed his talk a little bit to just zero in on this particular moment in my life, this transition of no longer having my mother in my life the way that she has been all of these years. And so I'm just going to read to you 5 little excerpts from this talk. And I hope that they might resonate with you wherever you are in your life right now. He says, the path that all humans walk emanates from deep inside their own heart and will lead them to some kind of discovery about themselves and the world. To be on that path requires a sense of deep vulnerability, along with a sense of anticipation about the possibility of connecting with something quite powerful underneath. We frequently begin this type of journey not believing and not trusting that we have what it takes to follow the path ahead. And hence, we begin with a sense of not knowing. We may hesitate, avoid, or stray from the path, but every time we return to the path, it's an act of mercy. He shared a quote from Rumi, "Come, come. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Even if you have broken your vows 1,000 times, come, come and join us." And the reason I like that quote is because, I do find that I can distract myself quite easily from really taking the opportunity to benefit from this time in my life. So it's comforting to know that I can come back. I can keep coming back, just like when we meditate and we notice that our mind has wandered, I can keep coming back. And then the last thing that he said is, one diagnostic of a relationship that isn't working is not enough quality time together. Not having a proper exchange with what is unknown in your partner and yourself. It is the same in your own personal life. How much time do you make to sit by yourself and be silent? Sit in the chair and find out who's there. Nurture and see as precious your own aloneness. Acknowledging and approaching what is hidden in ourselves is one of the most powerful things that we can do. So I think that's a good segue into just going into the silence. With that thought. And, I don't normally think about my sitting practice in that way, but I really appreciate his invitation to sit, to simply get to know yourself better and to see what is there underneath. So let's settle ourselves into an upright yet comfortable position.
Linda, you ready for me to stop the recording?
Yes, John, thank you.